Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. Could you please remain standing for our national anthem? Thank you very much. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity on behalf of the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment and all the 1,100 delegates seated here this morning to extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa and to the Premier of Gauteng, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi. Mr. President and Premier, you are joining us on the second day of our biodiversity economy and investment in Indaba under the theme Collective Action for Thriving Nature and People. Yesterday, delegates participated in panels on how the biodiversity economy promotes socio-economic development, particularly in rural communities. We spent some time with the Statistician General and Minister Mkunu and received the report on natural capital accounting. We had a session on funding and investing, and later in the afternoon there was a closed session where over 100 projects were presented to potential investors. And then in the afternoon we spoke about implementing the global diversity framework, and we listened to presentations on the implementation of the global goal of 30 by 30, how communities can benefit from achieving this goal, and of course important issues relating to the recognition of intellectual property of indigenous communities. Today we are all excited and looking forward to your address, Your Excellency, and later this afternoon all participants will be going into commissions so that they have an opportunity to participate fully in the deliberations and in developing a program of action to take forward the decisions of this conference that will be presented tomorrow morning. Without further ado, let me invite the Premier of Gauteng, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, Panya, to greet us all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Minister Barbara Chrissy. I want to take this opportunity to greet our President, His Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa. President, welcome to Gauteng. I also want to acknowledge the presence of other ministers and deputy ministers that are here, and also acknowledge members of the executive councils that are coming from various provinces. I want to acknowledge the traditional leadership that is here, chairpersons of boards of state-owned entities, directors general that are here, and other members of government representing various sections and institutions of government, leadership of business, leadership of NGOs, leadership of civil society, leadership of community-based organizations and religious formations, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My task is very simple. Is to welcome you to the beautiful land that is called Gauteng. I want to take this opportunity to also congratulate and thank the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, Barbara Chrissy, for the gazetting of this important task that you are about to debate, discuss and engage on, the National Biodiversity Economy Strategy, that we believe as Gauteng will assist us to take our economy to the next level. We are dictated, Minister, by Section 24 of our Constitution to ensure that our country has a reasonable legislative and other measures that we put in place that will ensure that our environment is safe. And the publication and the gazetting of this important task gives us as a Gauteng government an opportunity not only to engage with you, but also contribute to the development of this particular sector. We are indeed excited with some of the recommendations are there, even though we feel there are other areas that will participate in the commissions that we believe need lots and lots of improvement. But after this, Minister, we are pleading for one thing and one thing and one thing only. Days of yipping are over. We need to move with speed to implement. We can't spend more time strategizing. We can't spend more time squabbling amongst ourselves. We can't spend more time arguing amongst ourselves. Our communities and the economy outside there want us to fold our sleeves and enter the terrain and implement our ideas and implement our thoughts and implement our commitments. In everything we do, Minister, we are not like ice cream where we'll be loved by everyone. Those that don't agree with the implementation methods that we need, hard luck. But majority gives you the mandate to govern and to implement. So all of you that are here, as we welcome you here, we want to urge you, on behalf of the Gauteng government, let's do one thing. Our people are tired of listening to us. They are ready to welcome our implementing tools, and we want those particular tools to come out of you. Thank you so much, and welcome to Gauteng.
That's our Gauteng Premier as we know him. Roll up your sleeves and implement. Ladies and gentlemen, before I invite the President to speak, we are going to watch a short documentary.
ECT, Mkabelo Community Trust, owns about 13,000 hectares of the project, Babanango Game Reserve. We have initiated to establish Babanango Game Reserve so that we are going to create a lifetime beneficiary.
The total size of the game reserve is 20,000 hectares. Of the 20,000 hectares, 80% of the land is made out of community-owned land. Isiqube siqale ngonyaka 2017. Lona ke ngomunye wemsebenzi omkhulu we-trust yasemcabwini ebizwa ukuthi umcabwini community trust, and then kwaba sengenelela ke namanye ama-trust amabili, esibongweni community trust kanye neKwangono Community Trust.
30 by 30 is a global goal to protect 30% of our planet's land and sea areas by 2030 in order to reverse the loss of biodiversity, adapt to climate change, and reduce the risk of disease outbreaks.
It's not just about securing species, it's about securing the landscape in which ecological processes can take place, and obviously allows for biodiversity to thrive and ensure that we have functioning, healthy ecosystems, which is in the interest of biodiversity. It benefits and mitigates climate change, but at the end of the day, most importantly, it actually benefits humanity as a whole.
We have been able in KZN to demonstrate how that could be able to work much more effectively through the expansion recently of an area called Babanango, which added about 20,000 hectares onto the conservation estate. In an area where there's no hope, for communities where there's joblessness, and you have such a beautiful coming together of conservation of private sector, which invested some 800 million into that project, of communities that enable us to be able to reach our target, but at the same time, ensuring that we create jobs and deal with our South African crisis of unemployment.
The registered beneficiary who are on our list is 310 beneficiaries, excluding the communities around the project who are directly benefiting.
So I think that Babanango Game Reserve is really it's a wonderful project and a wonderful case study that can help all of us understand how we put together the very complex pieces of the Convention on Biodiversity. If we can bring all of those things together, we can continue to be a leader in conservation in a different sense from the way we have been up until now. We can be a leader in transformation, we can be a leader in community beneficiation, and we can be a leader in sustainable use, all of which I think makes the biodiversity economy and the conservation aspect of it a feasible possibility.
People tend to think when we talk about climate change, we're only talking about perspectives from the scientific world. Climate change affects you and I. It affects communities on the ground. We need to create strategies that enable us to embrace communities in these conversations. The need to expand, the need to protect, and the role that they as communities can play individually, collectively. It should not just be a conversation about government realizing 30 by 30 expansion targets. It really has to be distilled down to each and everybody in this country to have a better appreciation of what it is this asset is about and why it needs to be protected.
South Africa is one of only 17 megadiverse countries globally, attributed to high levels of natural diversity and endemism, meaning that many species only call our country, our land and sea home, and occur nowhere else in the world.
30 by 30 matters to the youth of South Africa because over 67% of our population is made up of the youth. So once we are able to find ourselves in a space where we can contribute to policy and contribute to governance about our biodiversity, then that puts us in a place where we feel a greater sense of ownership and stewardship of our natural environment.
Kubalulekile bakwethu ukuthi songeni imvelo, songe idlwane ukuze izizukulwane zethu ngelinye ilanga uma sesingasekho zikwazi ukubona lemvelo lena thina esayificayo. Ukuvikela umhlaba kungenye futhi into ebalulekile, ikakhulukazi njengoba sibhekene nesimo sokuguquguquka kwesimo sezulu okuthiwa climate change. Kubalulekile kakhulu ukuthi sivikele umhlaba, siwugcine ukuze ngelinye ilanga nezingane zethu ziwufice. Asingabi isizwe okuyothiwa ngelinye ilanga yithi esahluleka ukuvikela imvelo. Sinelwane eziningi ngaphakathi esiqiweni kusukela kobhejane, indlovu, zinyatha. zonke lezilwane lezo asiyivikeleni singezethu. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the moment that we've all been waiting for. Please, can you extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, as he takes the podium.
Thank you, Minister Creasy. So, Minister Creasy, you are the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, and you have brought everyone here, not to be transformed as fishes, or as the Premier was saying, to come and eat ice cream, but to come and participate together with all the 1,100 delegates. So I thank you to have invited me to be here. And the Premier of Gauteng, Premier Panyaza Lesufi, ministers and deputy ministers who are here present, as well as our MECs who are part of the Gauteng government and indeed the other provincial governments we have in our country, and the chairperson of the National House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders, and all the Royal Highnesses who are here present, the chairpersons of boards of public entities, and heads of department, representatives of business, civil society, as well as organized labor, and all of you distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm really pleased to be invited to this very important conversation, this Indaba on growing, transforming and financing our significant biodiversity economy. South Africa is known as one of the top biodiverse countries in the world. We are a country that is well endowed when it comes to biodiversity. And one just needs to listen to visitors who often come to our country and often comment that you have a beautiful country, you have a lovely country. And I always proudly say, yes, this is the most beautiful country in the world. And they respond by nodding their heads, whether they are Chinese, Europeans, Americans, or South Americans. Because it is true, our country is the most beautiful, and there's no other country I know that is as beautiful as South Africa. And this beauty derives from the many iconic and animal species that have long been integral to our culture, to our spirituality, and to our livelihoods as Africans, and also highly valued our country is across the world. We have coexisted over many years harmoniously with our biodiversity because we recognize the importance of the interdependence and the respectful relationship between humans, people, and nature. And this is something that has been handed down to us by generations and generations of our forebears. For they knew, even without having gone to universities, that the needed to be a balance between ourselves as human beings and nature. And much of what they did then was demonstrated in how they cared for our nature and how they were active participants in the diverse biodiversity we have. Natural resource use has underpinned traditional economies as well as societies across our African continent. And our people have been harvesting biodiversity products for millennia and doing so sustainably. Today, sustainable use of biodiversity is seen as a real pillar of rural economies across our country, supporting hundreds of thousands of jobs. Sustainable biodiversity use also contributes to urban economies. For example, traditional medicine markets exist in nearly every major urban center in South Africa. You just need to go to our markets and you will find in some corner there somebody peddling traditional medicine. The trade in indigenous medicine plants is a multi-million rand industry. It's an industry that supports jobs as well as livelihoods across the value chain. As a country, we've been firm that communities must benefit in a tangible manner when plant and animal species are harvested for commercial gain. A good example of this approach is rooibos, a product that is popular not just in South Africa but around the world. 4 years ago, the first industry-wide benefits sharing agreement was launched between the South African rooibos industry and the Khoi and the San councils. Having been to the areas where the Sans and the Khans live, the Khois rather, I have been able to see the pride and the joy that you see on their faces as they talk very proudly of this age-old plant that is now benefiting their lives in more ways than one, and how they themselves participate in not only the harvesting, but the nurturing and the caring and the replication of this plant. Now, this agreement has to date distributed a total of 28 million rand to 2 councils in recognition of the community's indigenous knowledge of the rooibos species. Another product is the alu plant, a plant that is indigenous to Southern Africa and is harvested for pharmaceutical and cosmetic purposes. To date, approximately 46 million has been paid by permit holders directly to Alu Forex tapers. Now, Alu Forex is just one of the countless indigenous species with medicinal and other value that are being used in commercial applications. There are many others. There's also Sceletium, the marula, which I'm sure many of us know. If you have not imbibed in the marula drink, you ain't a true South African. There's also pelargonium and buchu, the shrub that has been used by the Khoi and the San for healing and traditional rituals for centuries. Approximately 29 million rand has been paid to traditional authorities in the Eastern Cape, as well as in the Northern Cape, the Northwest, in KZN and Limpopo, in recognition of indigenous knowledge associated with these species. And one should meet the people who are involved in caring for these plants, in harvesting these plants, and you can see that they are benefiting and they see this as an opportunity that is transforming their lives. We know that compensation and recognition of indigenous knowledge held by communities is not enough. We know that payment to communities for harvesting these species is also not enough. There must be tangible beneficiation in communities when indigenous plant species are harvested for commercial benefit, whether it is for medicine, cosmetic, or other purposes. Sustainable mass cultivation of indigenous plant species must support the creation of businesses, must also support the establishment of factories and other value chain networks that allow for end products to be exported to the rest of the continent and indeed abroad as well. This mass cultivation can also assist land restoration and also land rehabilitation, as well as carbon sequestration, which is important in the context of climate change. Now, to ensure a more holistic approach to access and benefit sharing, we are developing nurseries for the production of indigenous species. So these species can be cultivated for medicinal and cosmetic purposes. When it comes to animal species, beneficiation must result in the establishment of community-run businesses, be they lodges or game meat butcheries and production facilities. We have now developed a game meat strategy that is focused on scaling economic enterprises for communities and previously disadvantaged individuals, and also providing land use patterns that are compatible with our conservation ambitions. There are already a number of commercially successful game meat production facilities in several parts of our country. Another example is the marine biodiversity. For many decades, fishing was the preserve of commercial enterprises only. This is something we are working hard to change. In January this year, we allocated 15-year fishing rights to small-scale fishing sector in the 4 coastal provinces. But we must build on this. Job creation must be at the center of our efforts. Over the weekend, as I was campaigning in the Eastern Cape, I met one of these beneficiaries who sat next to me at lunch, and we were having wonderful fish, a carpenter, which I hadn't tasted in a long time. And he said, "President, a small-scale fishermen and women, we are doing extremely well. In the past, we were locked out of this industry. Now we are participating. And now you are even indulging in the fish that we caught. And I wondered whether it was, spreading some butter over my eyes, because how could he identify that the fish I was eating was really caught by him and his fellow fishermen? But as president, you do accept stories that people tell you, particularly during a campaign, because you can't be second-guessing people who are potential voters. As our mineral resources, we cannot simply be mere exporters of raw minerals, and I often say the days when we continue exporting stones, rocks, and dust and soil should now be over. We must beneficiate our minerals here, right here in South Africa. Like the message of localization. When we started talking about localization, those who are still tied to the Northern Hemisphere economies, where we've tended to import a lot of our products, were very critical of us. And they said this is a pipe dream. It's a dream that will never be realized. And they argued that it would be more expensive for us to localize, and said that they did not believe that it would take off. It is now taking off. We're localizing more and more and insisting that those products that can easily be manufactured here, even with great difficulty, should be manufactured here, so that we can stop exporting jobs and make sure that the jobs are here in South Africa, so that we can develop our own nation. Many nations have developed their own countries by localizing, making things for themselves, making their own products, and thereafter exporting them. And it is for this reason that we are also insisting on the beneficiation of our minerals. We are the leading mineral-rich country on the continent up to date hereof. It was not only in gold, which was our best mineral in the past, but we have a plethora of other minerals, indigenous resources that come from this country that we need to beneficiate, so that we can export fully finished products to other countries and create jobs here in South Africa. And we are going to do that. Whether they like it or not, we are going to do precisely that. Now, this is what a revised biodiversity economy strategy aims to achieve and to address. It aims to synergize our economic and conservation objectives by emphasizing that a successful biodiversity economy must be linked to the restoration of ecosystems. It broadens the existing terrestrial goals and adds marine, coastal, estuarine, and freshwater opportunities. Now, this strategy places the transformation of biodiversity sector at the center of all that we do. Now, rural communities that have always been relegated to the back, that have always suffered through disadvantage, must be put at the center of what we do. Our traditional leaders must be part of devising new approaches to investment in community-owned land for biodiversity-based enterprises. So this Indaba is a great opportunity for business entities, conservation management authorities, the previously disadvantaged people in our country, and communities to pitch their biodiversity business concepts to potential investors. And I would say that this is an opportunity for all those to put their best foot and their best plans forward. The projects include investment opportunities with national parks, World Heritage sites, botanical gardens and provincial nature reserves, community-owned wildlife businesses, like what we saw on the video earlier, a most moving story, bioprospecting and ecotourism. For us to fully harness the benefits of biodiversity, economy thereof, we have to understand its scope, its breadth, and also the opportunities that it gives rise to. So work is underway to develop a natural capital accounting for biodiversity sector. This is being done through the partnership between the Department of Forestry, Fisheries, and the Environment, also Stats SA, and the South African National Biodiversity Institute. Now, the initiative will ensure that the contribution of the biodiversity sector, including its entire value chain, is formally recognized and embraced. Now, the Global Biodiversity Framework that was adopted in December 2022 aims to ensure that biodiversity is valued, that it is conserved, that it is restored, it is nurtured and wisely used, sustaining a healthy plant and delivering benefits essential for all people. Now, the framework itself has three central aspects. The first is the recognition that human and ecosystems sustainably require a global target of 30% of the land and 30% of the sea to be placed under protection by 2030. The second is that communities living in and around or adjacent to conservation estates must benefit from the economic opportunities that are created. And this is simply based on the adage that nothing about us without us, and going further to say we must not be left behind. We must benefit also from whatever is eked out of the land that inherently belongs to us as given down the lines by our ancestors. The third aspect is that the intellectual property of indigenous people must be recognized as well as compensated. There is also agreement that developed economy countries must assist developing economies in achieving global conservation targets. The work to conserve and restore our biodiversity takes place as the world is experiencing an increasingly destructive effect of climate change. African countries are among the most vulnerable to the effects of a rapidly changing climate. They have to adapt and build resilience within the context of historically low levels of development, and severely limited capacity. And this having been given rise to by colonialism, which really damaged the development prospects of most of our continent. The Climate Change Bill, which is currently before the National Council of Provinces, seeks to enable a just transition towards a low-carbon, climate-resilient society, as we've always talked about. This just transition must contribute towards the creation of decent work for all, social inclusion, and the eradication of poverty. It largely revolves around our slogan that no one must be left behind in whatever we do as we transit to new energy, either technologies and so forth. The bill recognizes that a robust and sustainable economy, as well as a healthy society, depend on the services that well-functioning ecosystems provide. The bill maintains that enhancing the sustainability of economic and social and ecological services is an integral component of an effective and efficient climate change response. Now, a just transition puts people at the center of decision-making, especially those that are most affected by the transition, by empowering and equipping them for the new opportunities of the future, by skilling them, upskilling them, and reskilling them, and properly equipping them to be active participants in the new economies. And there are going to be new sectors of the economy that are going to arise. We've reached that moment when there's going to be, as we move forward, an explosion of great opportunities in the various sectors of the new transition landscape. We must put rural communities at the center of every decision-making process and ensure that we are empowering and equipping them for the new opportunities in the biodiversity sector. Just as we will rely on forging meaningful partnerships between business, government, and communities to grow and restore our country's conservation estate, we also need to deepen collaboration on ventures that help us to mitigate and adapt to climate change and its ongoing effects. So carbon sequestration projects are one such example for which funding streams are needed. And I call on industry, on finance institutions, philanthropies, civil society, and traditional leaders, healers as well, and practitioners, to collectively embrace our vision for a transformed biodiversity economy. This biodiversity economy can yield enormous benefits. The areas where our people live now should now begin to be transformed from dead capital to beneficial capital. And as we look at the landscape of where our people live, we should now be looking at it through a different lens, a lens of development, a lens of adding value, and a lens that will lead to great benefits for our people. Now, the scientific research and academic community has also an important role to play in all this. The Council for Science and Industrial Research, the CSIR, for instance, is doing important work around identifying and developing the use of traditional plants and plant-based remedies for commercial use. Now, it's always a joy to me when I go to the CSIR and just see the wondrous works that they do. These scientists who just move like ants, day in and day out, creating things, new things, and researching. And this is one of the great endowments that we have as a country, which many countries, particularly on our continent, do not have. We have a CSIR that is able to lead the charge in researching new areas, new products, and helping to bring them to market. Collective action can shape a future in which both nature and people thrive. The success of the initiatives that will come out of this Indaba will not only enable us to meet our international sustainable development obligations, they will also empower especially rural communities and rural economies and create jobs and support our industrialization efforts. Now, when one goes to rural areas, you just often get so sad to look at rural areas that you can see are just dormitories where people live. There's hardly much economic activity that happens. And as one goes around, what you see are living abodes, and you also see schools, you see churches, and you see open land. For the most part, that's what you often see. And yet lying hidden, like Rembrandt's or Gerard Sikoto pieces lying in the attic, are the endowments that our people should now utilize: the land, the plants, and everything else that is in our rural communities. Those need to be brought to life. That is the residual capital that we have that needs to be utilized, and so that that dead capital can become real capital in the hands of our rural communities. So I wish you well in your deliberations and look forward to seeing the results that will emerge from this Indaba. I do believe that assembled here, I would say, is the brains trust of our country when it comes to biodiversity matters. And you are the ones, all assembled here, who will always find solutions to some of the challenges and problems that confront us. For instance, Premier, you spoke about ice cream. Now, I'll throw a problem at you. Problem that I'll throw at you is if you take ice cream, which you spoke about, and mix it with cow dung, what do you get? I want you to work that one out, because you started talking about ice cream. And many of our people here do get to walk through cow dung. So when you mix the two, what do you get? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you about the flavor of ice cream that Premier Lesotho is inventing here. Mr. President, thank you very much for locating the work that we have been doing here within the broader socio-economic development objectives of our country, and also helping us to understand the links between the work in biodiversity and the enormous battle that we need to fight against climate change. Thank you very much for your input. Can we give the President another round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to request that you will remain seated while the President and Premier are going to go and look at the exhibition. While you are sitting here, the Deputy Director General for Biodiversity and Conservation, DDG Makorwa, are you here? Is going to explain to you the commissions and how we are going to move into our commissions. It seems to me, DDG, we have an opportunity to begin commissions maybe before lunch, that you will give direction because it's 11:15 and I think there's a lot of appetite amongst participants to move ahead with the participation. Colleagues, the entrances to the exhibition are supposed to be closed, and I wouldn't want to see movement up and down in that regard. Mr. President, Mr. Premier, can we allow you please to move forward to the exhibition? And we'll ask DDG Makorwa and DG if you can take over matters on the stage. Thank you very much.
No, I gave that guy. I gave that guy. It's included. And of course, our ministers and MECs here.
Sorry, darling.
We've got a number of exhibitions that display or profile the various mentions of the biodiversity. Where you are now, it's a wonderful initiative which is based in Gauteng. That has got a product that combines game meat plus pork products. So if I can hand over to the lady, is it you? Yeah. To be able to tell the president what you do. And it's owned by a female, young female.
If you don't need go in front of me.
From the president. Just raise your voice.
The one you're holding. The one you're
I'll start by passing my greetings from the president going down to the premier and the members of the executive council together with the ministers. I go by the name of Cyril. The mic is not on. And I am the production manager of Indaba. Indaba is a female-owned business. Indaba is a female-owned business that is situated in Gauteng, and then we do production, various productions like produce game meat together with pork. We process the meat. Actually, we process the carcasses. Sorry, we process the carcasses in different meat cuts and different meat products. As much as you can see, we got the game drivers today. We got the game salami and the chili bites, specifically made from impala. They were processed using various production systems that I cannot explain right now because we don't have time. And then this are actually made from the things that you guys regard as the waste product, which are the horns of the impala. We have a tin opener here, and we have also the wine opener. We got key holders.
This is a spoon.
This is a dressing spoon.
You eat with it.
No, you don't eat with it. It's actually a dressing spoon because we do have visitors, pictures, and that's all we do.
Oh, okay.
This one is it's also the focus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. It's very nice. Where is it based?
Media, let's move to take our positions inside media. Where? Media, let's move. This is Dinda Technologies. Dinda, each vendor is Museto. So they make products out of Dinda, but also from Veva, which is Kigelia africana, this fruit, if you can raise it. If I can hand over to you to share with the President what you do with that fruit.
Action President.
Minjani.
Fukile Minjani.
Fukile.
My name is Patrick from Dinda Technologies. As he already said, we making products from plants and herbs. What I'm doing, I'm taking my people back to where everything has started.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking my people back to their roots.
Yes, sir.
So I'm making products from Museto,
yes,
which is called devil's thorn.
Yes.
This is what our parents used long time ago to wash their hair.
Yes.
So I've decided to commercialize this herb.
Yes.
So from the Museto, I'm making the hair shampoo.
Yes.
From Museto, I'm making the hair conditioner.
That's incredible.
From Museto, I'm making the dishwashing liquid. This is not a sunlight. This is Sir Patrick's dishwashing liquid. From Museto, I'm making the general purpose cleaner. What I've done, I've just decided to take advantage of the foam that you get from Museto.
Yes.
Secondly, I'm using Moveva, the sausage fruit,
yes,
Kigelia africana,
yes,
to make the gin, which is 43% alcohol.
Gin?
Yes, Mr. President.
Alcohol?
Alcohol,
From
yes.
this thing?
From Moveva.
Aye, aye, aye.
From Moveva, I'm making the kombucha as well,
yes,
which is good for the gut health.
Yes.
From Moveva, I'm making the tea bags as well.
Haibo.
The tea bags are good for the night duties, because this is what this fruit is well known for.
Night duty.
Night duty. So this is good for men,
yes,
who are struggling with their night duties.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President.
So who fall asleep during night duty?
Yes, Mr. President. So basically, this is what we are doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's move. That one. Stop. Moving. Yeah, let's move. Media, let's move. Let's move. Let's go,
Where?
Where are we going?
Oh, this one here. This one. This one. No? One or two only associations of black hunters in South Africa. We've got over 30 associations that are in the industry, and this is one amongst only 2 or 3. So, as you can see here, the chief executive of SABC is here. This man I was with in the US marketing his hunts this year. And we are supporting him as a department for a 3-year incubation period. As we speak now, we also have started hunting the US market because of the effort that the department, through the leadership of our minister, is doing. Over to you.
Thank you.
Honorable President, thank you for visiting our stand. I am Franz Malwani, the Chief Executive Officer of the South African Black Hunters and Sport Shooting Association. This association was founded in 2019 by 5 individuals who saw the need to voice out for the marginalized in the industry. So what we basically do is we educate and also help government to transform the sector. And we also try and get women and youth to participate in hunting and also in the sport shooting arena. And of course, I'm also the hunting outfitter and the professional hunter for a company called Inaugural Safaris. I went to USA to Dallas Safari Club show twice with the department, and of course I've got hunting booked with overseas clients who will be coming in this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do you hunt?
Okay, I hunt in Limpopo in a farm called ID Safari, based in Munich on the RDE.
Okay. It's very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the next one. Media, let's move.
Moving.
Let's move.
Where?
This side. This side. This side.
This one is not going to record.
Yeah. This one won't work. Nice, though.
Processing facility. He also is diversifying his business with the White House. So his name is Shula Malonis. Over to you. Tell the president what you do. Hello, Mr. President. We meet again. Siyaphila kunjani? Mlungisi Kushula, with my lovely wife Ayabuka Kushula, who's the CFO of the company. We are basically trying to make use of we're converting the wattle infested and gum infested woodlots and converting them into commercial plantations. And we are working to empower communities as well. We've also recently applied and expressed interest to take over the category Bs and Cs, which are currently unproductive forest lands that are under DFFE. We are also expanding in partnership with the SABC to manage the Garden Route forest in the Garden Route National Park. So if you look around the store, you will see various timber products, pine, blackwood, and yellowwood. So we are mainly harvesting currently on a contract that we are given by Rand's Timbers as their enterprise development. So we've got a contract to harvest about 1,500 cubes of timber per month, and then we supply their sawmill where they are making, processing pine logs into planks and various stuff. So if you, the wood chips are a byproduct because trees take a long time to grow, and then we are trying to maximize the beneficiation of the trees by utilizing every component of the tree. So the wood chips are mainly supplying the energy market for broilers and all that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you.
Looking for your support.
Thank you, media. Let's move back.
Behind me. Where? Behind me.
Oh,
behind me.
Thank you, Mr. President. The booth before us is Tsongti Crafters, who have been working very closely with the department and of course other departments. They breed their teeth all the way from Limpopo. If I can then hand over to yourself to tell the President what you do.
Dumela, Mr. President, and our Premier and our Minister. I'm Non-Dumiso Patha. I'm with Dora Muteti. We are leading a...
Now we have a minister called Pasha. What Pasha Lwe?
Ritwawe village, Abuswana.
Okay.
So we started this initiative in 2014. I'm a Makoti there. I'm Zulu, and I found the traditional women drinking these precious teas or just living a traditional lifestyle.
Yes.
And there's a nurse coming from the nursing profession. I got inspired when I look at the rural women compared to us in the cities.
Yes.
The rural women are hardworking, they are healthy, they are
more beautiful.
They are more beautiful.
Yes.
So I decided to join them, and we started the initiative called Sejong Tea Crafters. And it's led by indigenous women who are now the shareholders of this company. We are not employing them, we are co-founders of the company, so which is formed of 3 entities. It's 2 cooperatives and 1 PTY, which is opening the markets. And at the same time, we are led by young CEOs, youngsters who are leading the innovation. So it's actually 2 plants. It's a deer red root tea which grows naturally in the landscape of Skukune. It grows like an African potato. They have always been drinking it as a detox tea. So we then entered the territory of IKS through DSI. For the past 6 years, they developed the products as you see them. The CSIR, as we were mentioning, they are leading the innovation, and Agricultural Research Council is already replanting the plants. So what is very special about these products is that the red root tea is rich in beta-carotene, high fiber, calcium and magnesium. It detoxes and nourishes the system. So it removes toxins, it removes all the undesired pathogens in the body just through urine. And then we are also saying to men, there it is, it opening pipes, protect you from all those possible prostate and yes. So it actually just develop and encourage the detoxification of the body whilst it also nourishes. And then we have the second plant, which is the black bush tea. Give me the doll. Okay, black bush tea is called Dipanic. What is amazing with this plant, it grows as a muscle toy, as a parasite on typical trees of Kukune. They actually harvest it, and it saves the host as well, because if the plant grows big, it actually consumes and destroys the host tree. So it's rich in vitamin A, C, E, and zinc. So it is very popular in this environment. We've made quite a lot of sales, because it boosts, it improves the skin, hair, nails, it gives you energy, it has got amino acid, and it balances hormones for both females and males. So there's an excitement in it. Thank you so much. We're already in a food lovers market.
Hi, did you file it? Are you AM?
those safaris. Those safaris comes from Limpopo. They are part of the Chibura land claimants who actually claimed over 120 million hectares of land. But currently they've got 120 million. So currently they have got 120.
Currently it's 20,000 hectares.
Yes, currently it's 20,000 hectares that has been restricted. So let me hand over to those safaris to assist you.
I come from Limpopo. Like he has indicated, we are beneficiaries of land claim. We currently have got 20,000 hectares of land, and the land, after we have made thorough assessment, we realized is suitable for. We are just next to Mapungubwe, about 7 kilometers out of Mapungubwe. We are part of Mapungubwe as well. It's part of our claim, but we've got the land just outside of Mapungubwe at the moment, and we decided to go for wildlife trade and ecotourism. We started around 2015, and our first clients were international. We've got clients from countries like Belgium, Holland, Russia, the US, the UK, and we currently are also broadening and expanding our market locally because we realize that pandemics like COVID actually and the wars that are going on have taught us a lesson that we must diversify our market. We are owning 3 lodges, a 5-star lodge where we are able to accommodate all these clients from around the world. Some are coming for trophy hunting, some come for doing movies around animals, and we sometimes employ up to 150 people when we are actually doing a seasonal work, and we are actually planning to expand. We realize there's an opportunity in meat production. We just need facilities because we've got animals that we slaughter when the clients are coming, when they hunt trophies and so on. The meat should be used efficiently. We also realize the hides and the skins should also be processed for taxidermy. We also have got many other opportunities. We've got plenty of marula, we've got plenty of baobab trees where we also want to do bioprospecting and so on. So yes, yeah, we've got a lot because even the traditional people and so on that are coming to perform and so on, they benefit, and we are contributing towards the GDP of the country, and we believe that with your support, and particularly with the support of Sun Parks, they donated a few animals to us, some few buffaloes, SABC and so on, and DFFE is also doing a great job to assist us. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
thank you, colleagues. Let's move. Let's move this side. Okay. Let's move this side. Right.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Great honor. Thank you for spending some time with us and for us to share this wonderful story with you. So we are the first secondary cooperative in the Western Cape, small scale. We formed by 7 progressive primary cooperatives that's based all around the Western Cape, from Struisbaai, Cape Metro, all the way to Houtbay, Izamayetu community. Those are our founding members. We have successfully implemented a business model that has addressed our current challenges, produced maximum economic returns from our exported lobster, and importantly has allowed us to provide group burial cover to all of our 440 members and their immediate family free of charge. Something we're immensely proud of, something that has never ever existed in our fishing communities, and that has benefited about 30 families that have sadly passed on. Through Sandbox, through the empowering support of Sandbox and the Department of Fisheries, we are now ready, Mr. President, to unlock the full benefits of the full value chain of our long-term rights. We believe this is possible through strategic partnerships and scalable investment, particularly in our species that we've been granted now, like kelp. emulsifying that, creating fertilizers, animal feed. So we believe that the opportunities are here now. We are professional harvesters. We can supply the product. We need the partnership to professionalize the value chain post-harvesting so that we can maximize community beneficiation. So that's
now, the 100 members, are they fishermen and women?
440 members.
440.
They are fishers. It's a worker cooperative.
So they go out in their boat to go fish?
Absolutely. Fishing, harvesting, flecking, the entire value chain is consistent of the fishing, the small-scale fishing.
And the tonnage that is hauled?
So the tonnage is, this is where we need investment, because the beautiful allocations that was allocated now for lionfish is, in our group we have 62 commercial lionfish licenses. That equates to over 1,000 tons of snook alone. 1,000 tons, and that's one species. So we need the production capacity to be able to produce and value add that product so that we can obviously maximize value.
What else do you fish? So lobster?
Lobster, yes, lobster is our staple, whiskers, rock lobster, lionfish, kelp, and the abalone as well. So yeah, it's a organically growing basket of species that we're developing with the Department of Fisheries. So we're super excited.
And abalone as naturally farmed?
Wild
abalone.
And ranching. So there's
ranching as well.
Ranching as well.
Wow.
Immense opportunities.
Yes.
But I just wanted to mention this to you, that Cork Bay, you like to eat at Corky's Fish and Chips?
Indeed.
So I'm from Cork Bay originally, and the trust there, we almost got you to
come
and celebrate our 100 years of our harbour, but unfortunately it was COVID and there was the flooding in KwaZulu that time.
Yes.
So we had everything ready, but unfortunately
I couldn't come.
But don't worry, we're going to invite you.
I have to come and officiate this.
It's on camera now, right?
Thank you, colleagues. Let's move this up. Let's move this up.
Mr. President,
well done.
They are one amongst many small boat fishers who have got a 15-year permit from the department.
Yeah.
And
what are you doing here?
We do processing here.
Yes.
We do processing here, and we're also busy with the taxidermy. We are the only, like in the Free State, like Griqua company, which produce some biltong and do taxidermy. So actually, what we're busy now was the Department of Forestry and Fisheries to come on board to assist. Also, the last time I met the president in 2018 to assist us with expo our products like also skins and also products like the biltong and chili bites.
He's coming now. What do you have to say to him?
Yeah, I would just want to greet and say thanks to the opportunity and how best he can open the markets for us overseas to get international hunters.
How do you want him to open the market? He's coming now, but how do you want him to open the market?
What I think through the departments and maybe to check we as a small upcoming, how best to send a team and check and verify our farms, how possible it is, and for us as an upcoming business to check how best they can bring the international hunters to us. Thanks.
We'll hear from you when you speak to the president.
Can you not stay? That's it.
Media behind you.
Amazing work.
Thank you.
Meet Alvin.
How are you, sir?
Comes from Free State.
Yes.
Yes, by farm.
Yes.
That process. Yes. Please tell the president what you do.
Good day, Mr. President. My name is Ivan
Just
Gordo.
take it up.
My name is Ivan Gordo. We produce a public trust, family business, and what we do daily processing, and now we're busy with the taxidermy as well.
Okay.
And we're the only Greek-wide company, business in the Free State who do processing as well, taxidermy as well. But I'm not even sure President recognized this guy.
Yes.
This was a friend of mine in Limpopo 2019 was a presidential Indaba.
Yes.
But then I have also to extend my thanks every time you invite me to this Indaba. And as Cordon Trust, we also invite you for a buffalo hunt on our farm.
Okay.
So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
it's
sir.
a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
What did you say you wanted to say to the president just before we got here?
The thing is, maybe Mr. President, especially for us as upcoming Black Rangers safaris, to assist us, maybe to open gates for us for international markets.
Yes.
To come so that we can transform, create jobs, and participate in the economy of the South Africa. That will be nice for us. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's a plan.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, colleagues.
Premier, and we are guided by you, Peter. We are guided by you.
Enjoyed it immensely.
Which one was your favorite so far?
All of them, but especially those ladies who make tea out of the leaves that we just often pass by in the veld, in the rural areas. I mean, there's a lot of ingenuity, a lot of creativity, and it's a real pride for us as South Africans to be harvesting biodiversity products, adding value to them, and through that to add a lot of economic vibrancy in our rural areas.
That's what you were saying.
And that's exactly what I was saying, that and we should put our communities first and leave no one behind. Thank you. Leave no one behind.
Thank you.
That's what it means. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. That was so funny.